back to our Friends Avenue Tea tutorial. So now we've moved on to the point, let's see, we've joined our shoulders, we've picked up our sleeve edge. So now, of course, it talks about that we should sew the side seams. Cool. All right. So this is something that's really fun to learn. So we're going to be sewing along here, and then of course you go under the arm. First things first, you really want to, and I'll demo on this one, you want to have some sort of clip to hold your pieces together. This is like a fancier clip that I got from a Yarn Notion company. In a pinch, you can also just buy the cute little hair clips in your grocery store or pharmacy. Those work really well because pinning this is not going to work. So I'm going to show you on the mini sweater. Here she is. So if you've sewn fabric with a sewing machine, you always do right sides together like we did for the shoulders. But to sew a sweater together, you actually put the wrong sides facing each other, so the right side of your sweater is out and about for you to see. And what I like to do, I always leave tails. Tails will help you. If you didn't, it's okay. You can just always add on another piece of yarn. I like to make sure that I line things up and clip them. And these are nice and grabby, just so you have your edges together. Typically on a sweater, now this is teeny tiny, I will leave about 2 to 3 inches because I don't want it to be stitching and then taking out a clip every 2 seconds. Also, you go through a lot of clips. But we'll do this right here on that tiny underarm. So you're going to take your tapestry needle. I like a metal straight one. Some people like one with a little bend to it. If it's easier for you to sew, that's all that matters. And then you thread it through. And we're just going to start with your edge. And this is really easy. I'm going to leave that tail hang out. So your bottom, and you're at your bottom. You're just going to quick grab and go through to get that joint. Now as you hold it, you kind of butt the edges against each other so that you can kind of see where you're going. So if I go through, especially on the garter stitch side, it's a little bit different. I'm going to go through that little stitch and then across to the other one. It's kind of like lacing your shoes. And with garter, it's easy because you've got that little rice-shaped stitch to go through. And don't worry about keeping it tight right away. You can easily do this a little bit loosely. So that way, if you need to readjust, it's easier to take out. But you can grab those stitches and just go up. Your last little bit of green right there. So easy to see because we're in contrasting colors. So, and then you just give it a little bit of a tug, kind of like tightening your shoelaces, and your seam is closed. All right, we're done with green. So for the moment, it'll get woven in on the back side, but in the meantime, you can just drop it right down there, and we'll go grab our main color, which is sitting right here, very conveniently. Now that we're joined here, we actually don't need this little clip to hold it in place. And this is the fun one. It's called mattress stitch. It's my favorite way of doing it. I do find it very satisfying and very soothing. So once again, your ends are butted up against each other and you're up. You don't want to take it on the very edge because that won't be very smooth. So what you want to do is go one step in. And when you go between your V, see there's a horizontal bar. You can go grab that one, then go to the other side and grab that one. And like it was with the garter, it's like lacing up your shoes. You're just going back and forth. So you see your V, go in there, and there's your hidden little horizontal bar. And then do the same thing on this side. And you're just going to continue to go back and forth. Grab my tail out of there, and then I'll show you what happens when you tighten it up. Do that. Okay. My nail popped off. You see it's kind of loose. Here's the magic. You just tug your tail and whoop, you're all closed up. So I would say even if you do that, do maybe an inch to inch and a half and then give yourself a little tug. Don't tug so much you gather it like a skirt. Just hang on to it, give it a tug, and your sides close up, and that's how you'll just continue to seam all the way along. But yeah, that's a quick and easy way to do the mattress stitch and to seam up your sweater. When we come back next, we are going to work on the neckline, how to pick up, and of course how to knit the stamen stitch in the round. Welcome back for our last installment of the France Avenue tee. So we've joined the shoulders, we've picked up for the sleeve, we've sewn the side. So we've got all that done. So our very last thing to do is to do the neckband. So I made a mock-up that we can work with. So if you look at this one, I'm going to flip it over, make sure I'm staying in frame so you can see that it tells you to right side facing. We want to make sure to start at the right shoulder seam. So it's your right shoulder seam right here, and we're going to start the back and go across those back stitches and then come back down the front and pick up. It's going to be very similar to what you did on the sleeve. The curve of the neckline can sometimes be a little bit challenging, or maybe just scares you a little bit. It's okay. It will all work out. So since this one's done already, nice little reference. I made a fake neckline so we can work on this together. So you have your larger needle, which you use for the stamen stitch and to do the pickup, and your fun contrast color. And so as before, we're going to pick up 3 of every 4 stitches. So there's your shoulder, and you're going to go through those 2 legs like we did the last time. And I always leave enough so that the first one's always awkward, but we'll get that through. First stitch, yay. Okay, and we're just gonna go into the next one, making sure to use your working yarn, not the tail. If it happens, you just have to pull it out and start over. 2, 3. We're going to skip a stitch, and there you go. We're skipping our stitch. And so working across the back is going to be very similar to when you were picking up your sleeve edge. It's straightforward and easy, really nothing that challenging. You're just making sure that you do end up with an even number of stitches. So sometimes you have to you know, finagle here and there just to make it work, but it will. And so I'm going to continue working across the back. And then once I get ready to go to the front, we'll pick up again, and I will then kind of take you around how we do that curved edge and counting our stitches for that. But you'll see it's really not too different than doing this straight edge on the back of the neck. All right, so you have made it around the back neck, and now we're going to start this curve down the neckline. And it's more of a slant than a curve. So once again, you can kind of see where your stitches are, and you're just going to make sure to go through both legs of the stitch. So you're going to go there. And then just do the next one. There's your third one. You're going to skip. And I'll capture the yarn this time. And so we'll just continue down that slant, going through both legs of the edge stitch. And if you feel you have a gap somewhere, guess what? You can pull your needle out, pull back a few stitches, and try it again. It's okay. It's a whole learning process, especially picking up a neck edge. I think for years I used to just hand it off to my mom to do for me because I didn't like doing it, or I didn't feel confident doing it. And that's okay. You're just learning something new. Let me get down the side here. This is a little bit loose. If you feel it's a little bit loose, just tuck under there. You'll be fine. And we're getting to the point of where you've bound off your center stitches for the front. And then once again, that's just like going straight across, like you did the back. So it's fairly similar. But you're going to start to feel confident. You're going to start to see where your stitches are and where you're picking up. And it all will make sense. Now we're at the center part, which is essentially straight like your back. So you'll work across there. And now you just work your way up to your shoulder. And so I'm going to go ahead and finish off picking up the neckline, because now you know how to do this side. You already know how to do straight, and you'll just repeat the process up there. And then we'll just come back one last time to show how it joins and how to read your Stamen Stitch chart in the round. All right, so we have picked up all the way around our neckline. So by picking up, that is the first row of the Stamen Stitch. So if we're going to go back to our chart that we started with when we did the hem, you see in red, it's worked flat, but in blue, it's worked in the round. And so you follow your symbol key according to that. So we knit on this side. So now let's see. In the round, we will then be purling, slipping, and purling. Okay. So you're just going to, of course, add your cute little stitch marker. Mine are whimsical. Why? Because I like to have fun. And then you're just ready to go work in the round. So if we're following the chart in the round, we're going to go ahead and we're going to purl that first stitch. It's a little bit loose because that's our end. Give it a tug underneath. There we go. And then we're going to slip the next one. So we're keeping the yarn forward when we're slipping this time. And then we're going to purl and slip purl and slip. So when you're doing the neckline, just remember that you're doing it in the round. Follow the sequence as it lays out in blue. It's a 4-row repeat, just like the flat version. And yeah, and then all you have to do is then once you finish your entire repeats of the Stamen Stitch on the neckline, is you bind off, and then you've got a cute tee to wear all summer long. So I hope that helped. I hope you learned everything you need to know, and this gives you the skills to go ahead and do the France Avenue tee.